I get a handshake?
Maybe.
Fist bump? Fist bump?
Namaste.
Namaste. So I just asked you for a fist bump. You said no, and then you see your friend and you give him a fist bump.
He's my friend.
So are you racist though? Is that the color?
He's my friend. I'm comfortable with him, but I don't know.
Okay. Is it the color? Let's be honest.
I don't know you, sir. I know him, so that's why he's my friend. I don't know you. How
But
can I?
you can't give a fist bump?
I don't know you.
Okay, can I get a fist bump?
That's my choice.
Okay, is it the color?
My choice.
Indian people are extremely racist, especially towards Black people. And if you take a Black person who has been around Indian people for any period of time, Black people pick up on this.
I find it really hypocritical how Indians and South Asians will talk about prejudice they experience by white people and then turn around and take that same discriminatory energy and use it against Black people.
Hi friends, I hadn't planned on making another video right now, but Indian people are coming for me in my comments. And, so I know I'm on the right track with what I'm saying. But what I want to talk about in this specific video is Indian people and anti-Black racism specifically. So whether this is within the country of India, or whether this is when Indian people immigrate to any part of the world, whether it be on the African continent, in North America, South America, wherever, Indian people have, and again, I'm not saying every single Indian person, but I'm talking about Indian people generally, our society, our culture, the belief systems that Indian people hold, etc. Indian people are extremely racist, especially towards Black people. And if you take a Black person who has been around Indian people for any period of time, Black people pick up on this. It's something that is, this is not a secret. Whether you're talking to, say African students who study in India, which there are African students who are there, or whether you're talking about, say, Kenyans. There's a large population of Kenya that are Indian people that have immigrated to that country, or South Africa, or Canada, or, the United States, whatever. But Black people pick up on Indian people's racism because it is quite apparent. It's something that that is there. It's obvious. So I'm just going to give you an example of me, my family, and the Indian people in South Africa. When I grew up there, I spent the first 12 years of my life under apartheid. So we had servants, maids, cooks, gardeners, etc. And all of these people were Africans. They were Black people. And all of the Indians in South Africa had servants. Okay, they were all Black. Now, how were these servants treated? They were treated as subhuman. They were not considered to be human beings with feelings. They drank out of different cups. So Indian people would not share their table with the servants, who were an integral part of their household. They took care of their children. They drove them everywhere. They cooked for them. But they had to eat off of separate dishes. They could not sit on the furniture. They, say, for example, when we left our home and we traveled, so we lived in Pietermaritzburg, we traveled to Durban on the weekends, holidays, whatever. Our maid would come with us. She was not allowed to sleep on or sit on our furniture or sleep on our furniture, so she had to sleep on the floor. These are things that all Indian people did in South Africa. And now I'm just talking about South Africa. I'm not talking about, say, when Indian people immigrate to other countries. But this is true even in first generation Indians. Because, say, if an Indian person had to marry a Black person, 9 times out of 10, that Indian person's family is going to completely disown the Indian person who married a Black person. Now, Indian people generally, they they want Indian people to marry within their, they want Indian people to marry other Indian people. And then they even go into like, well, they want, the same caste, and they even have subcastes and all of this stuff. So, but if an Indian person marries a white person or say an Asian person, it's not considered to be as heinous of an act as if an Indian person married a black person. So this can be tied to the caste system because, like I mentioned in my previous video, Indian people are racist towards other Indian people. And some of this is based on skin color. It's not entirely based on skin color, but there is a factor that is, that is apparent in that. So Ava DuVernay made a movie called Origin, and it's based on Isabel Wilkerson's book Caste, which somebody just pointed out. And it's very difficult for me to talk about these very heavy topics in 10 minutes. So I can't cover everything, but Indian people are inherently racist as a culture and as a society. And then within that racism, there is a hierarchy. So yes, while an Indian society might be racist towards Western people, Western culture, white people, etc., just like Vivek Ramaswamy making that comment about how, he made all these disparaging comments about, Americans. And he was talking about white Americans, how they're not as smart and blah, blah, blah. These are not uncommon things that Indian people say within themselves. I have been privy to these conversations in whether it's, say a friend situation or families or extended families or just in my Indian community. These are very common beliefs that most all Indian people will espouse. They will say things like, well, white people have no culture. Their food is horrible. They just go on and on and on. But when it comes to black people specifically, Indian people have extremely racist views about black people. And it doesn't matter how nice this black person is, how educated they might be. None of those things matter. And that's why I say that a lot of Indian people, they align themselves with a very far right-wing kind of Trump ideology. So you might take somebody from, say, America who is a Trumpster, and they espouse all these very racist views. And you could take an Indian person, and in many respects, those views are going to align because Indian people generally tend to hold very racist views. It goes back to the caste system, yes, but it also ties into other aspects because, as I pointed out before, there are the so-called untouchables in India, and Indian people are racist towards them as well. So this is all a very, these are complicated things, and I'm just trying to do my best to share these ideas because we are in terrible times right now in the United States and in the world generally. So I guess Indian people, if you guys want to come for me, come for me. I am not saying anything that's untrue. This is the truth, and I think it's kind of an open secret.
One day when the country is no longer facing an economic crisis, or one day when the country is free of corruption, when we are ready to talk, when you are ready to sit down and talk about real-time issues that we are facing, we'll be able to sit down and talk about the amount of racism that most Indian people have towards black people. This might not be a popular opinion, but I know whoever's watching this video knows what I'm talking about. This thing has been going on for the longest time, and people are not addressing it. Instead, we sweep it under the carpet. But it's been going on for the longest time. And I'm not talking about just the recent incidents that happened in Phoenix, the Phoenix massacre or anything. I'm talking about a lot of things. It's been happening for the longest time. How many times have you met one of your brother or sister or auntie or even your neighbor who works for Indians or who works in Makishini or my Indians, how many times have you heard them talk about how evil they are? How badly they treat black people? How much they see us as slaves or animals instead of human beings? This thing hasn't been addressed in South Africa for the longest time. People don't want to talk about it. I don't know, maybe it's because of the affiliation that the government has, or the former government, as they said, has with certain Indian businessmen and business people. But we need to start addressing this situation. I'm talking about a lot of things. Even in religion, ask our fellow black brothers who decided to take Islam as their religion. Ask them how the treatment is from their fellow brothers in Islam who are Indians. Ask them about the treatment. Ask them about how much most Indian people would rather pay you through food, last week's food, instead of giving you like money, like as in real money. Ask anybody who works for Indian people how much racist they are. One day we'll be able to sit down and discuss that issue, that dilemma. We'll be able to talk about that disease, the hatred that most Indian brothers and sisters have for fellow black people. Like, I really don't understand this. I don't know. History people will correct me if I'm wrong. But as far as history books are concerned, black people, Indian people, colored people, we were all the same in the eyes of the oppressor, our former apartheid government. We were all the same. So I don't understand why most Indian people will be racist towards black people, because we are the same, guys. They've got the K word, we've got the K word. You know? So I don't understand why they need to be racist towards black people. It's appalling. It's distasteful. It's crazy. Anyways, happy Monday.
But I've seen a lot of stitches on this video and Indian people saying, well, it's not all Indian people. Yeah, we know that, black people know that, but it's a lot of us. So they are valid to say Indian people are racist. And can you honestly tell me, how would your family react if they know you're dating a black person? I also saw someone say, well, black people are racist to us too. Two wrongs don't make a right, but I'm also having a hard time believing that you know that many black people. And you're probably just making this assumption from like two black people that were nice to you. So like, well, they're racist to us too. We as Indian people need to acknowledge how we are wrong and apologize and change. We literally have come through apartheid together and somehow we're still divided. It doesn't make sense.
Most of the racism that I've actually experienced since coming to Canada has been from Indians.
Actually,
unfortunately, that's the reality. I'm so sorry. I know that they are one of the people that the general public, most of the general public in Canada are on right now. But to be very real and unfiltered, Indians and racism towards black people is insane. There was a day that I had ordered for food, and then the name on the order was an English name, and then the DoorDash got here, met me, and then said, "Oh, is your name this name?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, you don't look like it." And then I swear to God, he called head office to confirm that if there's,
What did you do? Tell me.
I reported.
Of course.
I called and reported.
What do you mean?
They refunded my money.
What do you mean you don't?
And they were like, they are going to deal with it.
I find it really hypocritical how Indians and South Asians will talk about prejudice they experience by white people and then turn around and take that same discriminatory energy and use it against black people. I know it happens. I grew up hearing it. So let's talk about how you are so eager to fit in that you would rather appease those who oppress you than support other oppressed groups. You know what that smells like? Desperation for acceptance. And the sad part is, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work to blend in, you will still be seen as an other.
Okay, so before I started my series, I wanted to tackle this question right here. A lot of Indians don't like black people because if you have a baby with a black guy, they think how dark it will come out. And in my case, this is true. So my family always called me dark growing up. Mind you, I'm not that dark. But my mother is darker than me, my father is lighter than me, so of course then you get me. But apparently I'm still dark. So when I was pregnant with my son, all my mom would say is how dark my child was going to be. Now, when he was born, when you look at the top of a newborn's earlobe, you'll see what color they're going to be, basically. Their pigmented earlobe basically tells you how dark or how light the child is. So what she said was, he's going to be so dark, look at his ear. I was like, huh? I didn't get it until later that she thought that because of his ear, he's going to be dark. And well, anyway, colorism is a big issue in India, and that could be why they don't really like the intermingling with black people. Now, that being said, my mom did remarry after my parents divorced, and she did marry a white guy, and my sister is half white, so she's super, super bright. So, yeah.
Most of the racism that I've actually experienced since coming to Canada has been from Indians.
Actually,
unfortunately, that's the reality. I'm so sorry. I know that they are one of the people that the general public, most of the general public in Canada are on right now. But to be very real and unfiltered, Indians and racism towards black people is insane. There was a day that I had ordered for food, and then the name on the order was an English name, and then the DoorDash got here, met me, and then said, "Oh, is your name this name?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, you don't look like it." And then I swear to God, he called head office to confirm that if there's,
What did you do? Tell me. What did
I
you do?
reported.
Of course.
I called and reported.
What do you mean?
They refunded my money.
What do you mean you don't?
And they were like, they are going to deal with it.
Okay, y'all, so did y'all see that video of a black woman and an Indian woman getting into it? They was arguing back and forth in the Walmart parking lot. And the Indian woman I think it was a Walmart parking lot. I don't know. Don't quote me. But they was going back and forth. But the Indian woman was calling the black woman with the hard R. And she just kept calling her that over and over and over again. And, so now the Indians is racist. And they don't like black people. So that's what we're talking about here. So now they got a problem with black people. And you know what? You know what I think? I think that other ethnicities, because I'm not going to say other races because we're all humans, supposed to be. But I think other ethnicities that call black people the hard R think that they are YT. They classify themselves probably as YT. They feel like the YT people, they feel like they're one of them. And so, because that's the only thing that makes sense. Because how are you as an Indian woman, which is a person of color, gonna call a black person the hard R? It would have to be because you think that you're YT.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Furaha. If you're watching me for the first time, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for choosing to be part of this video today, and thank you so much for watching this far. Now guys, on today's video, I know you have watched whatever you have watched and you like the videos that I have compiled for you. Now, there's a lot of things that are happening in those videos, and most of them are actually the kind that would annoy people, As a black person watching these confessions from Indians, it makes you question a lot of things. It makes you feel some type of way, but, we are grateful for the ones that have decided to come out and talk about these things, because if they did not gather the courage and the confidence to talk about it, then probably would never get a chance to know about the things that are happening with the Indian and the Indian people in, whatever countries that they live in. Now, you have seen these people explain the things that they do to black people willingly. Yeah, we're talking about families that are ready and open to hurting black people without a care in the world, without worrying about how that is going to impact the black people. Now, one thing that is very constant about all these racism stories is the fact that these people know and take advantage of black people and use them. Yeah, you do realize that they always take advantage of black people. They will make them work for them. They will make them do all the work, the kind of work in the homes, at places of work. And it's very sad sometimes when you're thinking about this, because we're not basically talking about only the Indians that are in America. We're talking about Indians across the world. Yeah, for example, some of them that are in continent of Africa, for example, Kenya, where I come from, these people have established themselves with the business world, and therefore they employ Kenyans, and those are black people we're talking about. They employ them. They will work for them, and Kenyans, they give their all. When they are working for you, they give their all. They will do the best that they can. They will deliver. If you ask them to go right, they're going to go right, because what they really need is to make sure that they are working well for you and they are giving you the service that you require them to do. Now, these people have worked for them, for a very long time, such that it's almost a culture thing, that when you're talking about someone working for an Indian, it's not something that is new to anyone. And the one thing that I have realized when you're listening to all these stories about Indians and how racist they are towards black people is the fact that they take advantage of them and their manpower. They take advantage of the fact that they can make them work for them. They can put them in their shops, for instance. They will make black people work tirelessly and actually not pay them so well, yeah, compared to the other Indians that are employed on those shops, for instance. And you do know that Indians work as a family, and they work as that kind of a relationship, because they are not usually very far from each other. You will find a cousin here and a brother the other side. And even the ones that are working within that shop, they are usually from the same people that own the shop. Now, these people will be paid more than the black people that are in that shop working, and they are actually the ones that are doing the most job. They will not be paid the same as those people that are Indian, yeah. And that is just to show you that that is how racist they are. Even with the payment, doesn't matter how much work you're doing to them, they will just pay you peanuts, and that's about it. Now, talking about these ones that are coming out to talk and tell us about how they have treated black people in their homes. For example, the lady that was talking about they had black workers at home, and the way that their parents used to treat them, they are not even given an opportunity to eat from the same plate that the Indians are eating from. Now, a black person will have to have their own plates. They will have to have their own, everything. If it's a cup, if a black person uses it, they will either throw it away. And I have seen a story where someone was explaining this, and they said that if Indians are in a home and they're eating, and a person, for example, a black person walks in, they're not going to behave funny. They're going to let those people in the house, and they will give them food, but they will make sure that there's plates for black people, and then there's cups for black people, so that when these people are in the house, they will be given those items to use. They will be given those utensils to use. And once they're done there, their washing is separate, and then their storage is also separate. So that is just to make sure that the utensils that the Indian people are using are not coming into contact with the ones that black people have used. Now, talk about racism and the heights of it. Yeah, that is exactly what they have been doing, and it goes as far as even when they have come to other people's countries, they do not care that now they're in a foreign place. They do not care that now they are not at home, and they should actually be checking their behavior. They don't do that. They will still behave the same way. They will want to harass black people, and most of them actually, for instance, when you're talking about the African situation, You know, in Kenya, sometimes when you are foreign and you're too much, you know, like you're harassing the locals, they just gang up and beat you up or harass you in a way that you will never forget, like to teach you a lesson so that you know that these people are actually at home and you are away from your home. So you should be behaving better than that. Now, they have discussed these things, and I know most of you have had encounters with Indians in America, and you have seen how they treat black people. In as much as they know for a fact that they need these black people, they will always behave in such a manner to show that they are, you know, they are more important than the black people simply because of their skin color. And you've heard what they have said about, for example, marriage. You know, they do not just let their kids have a choice to choose whoever they want to end up with. They make sure that they are making that decision for them. Yeah. And most of them, you have had these stories of them marrying their cousins or, you know, family members to keep the wealth within the family. And that this is not to mean that we have a problem with that. That is really up to them and what they choose to do with themselves. You know, as long as it doesn't affect us, I think that is okay. But you have seen how that explanation goes, that if a black person wants to marry in an Indian family, that is you, you know, picking your own poison, and you're definitely going to regret it. And it's not something that is widely acceptable, and most of the families will like cast the person that decided to marry from outside. Yeah, and outside for that case is marrying a non-Indian. And that is basically how they live. And I don't know if there's ever going to be a change. And I'm glad for people like the ones that have come out on this video to tell us about these things. You know, without that kind of group of people, we would never really know about the things that happen inside the houses of Indians. And that height of racism, I think, is something that needs to be studied. Most of the times, we're usually talking about racism when it comes to white people and black people and how they relate. But sometimes it's very crucial and important to make sure that we're also looking at such things, because Indians, most of them are getting away with these things because the focus is not on them. The focus when we're talking about racism is usually on the white people and how they behave around black people, how they treat them, how they associate with them, and the things, the kind of things that they do to them while they are together. Now, this has been going on for way too long. Anyone that has interacted with Indians to this point, they know that Indians are also people that need to really be stopped, because they treat black people as if they do not mean a thing, as if they are better than black people, as if they are more human than black people. For example, what I just mentioned, they will overwork black people, and the Indians that are in for example, that kind of business, they'll be given less work. But for black people, I don't know if they think by you having this type of a skin or skin color or skin tone, it makes you stronger. Yeah, they will overwork black people. They will make sure that these people, you know, by the time they're getting home, they do not have energy for anything else. You just get home, sleep, and wait for tomorrow to go and work for your Indian employer. Now, guys, I know you have thoughts. Maybe some of you have encountered this. You have interacted with Indians and you did not like the experience. And also for the ones that have had an encounter and they feel like, no, it was not what you people are explaining over there. Maybe you liked the experience. And I'm saying that because I know that every time we're talking about white people, every time we're talking about black people, every time we're talking about Indians, anytime we're talking about Latinos, we are basically not saying that everyone is bad. There are people that are actually white and they're good. They're not racist, yeah? We have people that are Indians and they are good to black people, and most of you over here could be having different experiences. So let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please, I'm asking you, I'm requesting you to subscribe to my channel, be part of this amazing family. You have you know, we have come a long way, guys. We are now talking thousands and thousands of subscribers. Let's keep the channel growing. Thank you so much for the mad support that you have given me throughout the days that I have been here. It's just basically like 2 months, but you have been showing me overwhelming support. You know, you have been nice to me, you've been kind to me, you have been patient with me, and I really don't take that for granted. Guys, I really appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that you're keeping safe from wherever you're watching me from. And I hope that this day becomes some memorable thing to you and to your family, to your friends. I hope that you stay blessed. I will see you in my next video. So bye for now.